Hello, everybody. It is, it's actually time to do this again this month. I know we definitely didn't want to have it off the last part of the month, but those of you who were here last month know that we've got Jeremy full-time now, and Lily is going through some great changes. Some of those are great for her, some of them a little less comfortable, but she's doing amazing. Kalina and I are doing amazing, and although we're here at the end of the month, we're still here. We still got to rock and roll. Tonight, we are going to do a little change up, and this little change up includes Kalina not being in the driver's seat here with me, but instead one of our dearest friends, a guy who has been a part of our Patreon community since the beginning, a guy who me and Kalina have gotten to know and become great friends with, and a guy who also has his own successful YouTube channel. You guys might know him as Finn Castle Underground, but we all know him as William, a great friend. He's here with us today. We rigged it up through Skype's limitations without us figuring out how to navigate through all those yet. He's here on a phone call, and he's right here with us. So if you want to say hi to everybody, William, I'm going to send everybody out that link too. So.
That's fantastic. Yes. Hello, everybody. This is William, and Rob is correct. I do run the Finn Castle Underground. It was once much more successful than it is now because YouTube's been throwing all kinds of problems in the way of creators like Rob and myself. That's why I know, having listened to radio programs and people that I've listened to over the years, it's always jarring when you have like a guest host or a fill-in person. I know I'm not Kalina. I could never live up to her, fill her shoes, but she needs a break, and I am more than happy to help out here. The problems is that YouTube has taken away the Google Hangouts on air, and it's caused problems not just for Rob, but so many other creators. A lot of people's whole channels have been thrown into chaos because of the decisions YouTube has been making. And Rob and I did an interview about that a couple months ago. So it's not ideal. I know that the audio quality is probably not fantastic, but we've been working on this for a while. It is so important to Rob. I can testify. It is so important to Rob to get this material out to you guys. We've been jumping through hoops all night to try and put out the best product that we possibly can. YouTube is not making it any easier. And the thing is, like Rob, his skill is channeling. He's not a computer guy. I'm not a computer guy. So we have to learn new skills as we go along in order to get this information out. He and I are the same age. Anybody that's over 35 or so or our age, you'll remember we've gone literally from wooden floor model televisions in our home to now we have basically personal TV studios on our desktop. So the world has expanded unbelievably in just in our lifetimes, and we're trying to keep up as best we can. I guess if we had a 14-year-old kid somewhere, they could have solved this problem for us in a few minutes. But we've been working on it forever.
A couple months at least, and that's funny. You know, I've always considered myself decently tech-oriented when it came to a lot of things, but in the last 2 years, they've made software much more high-end, much more dynamic, and had so many more issues inside the expandability of each program and the depth of each program. So even a simple software program, even though we use a high-end software, it's still phenomenally difficult and has tons and tons of crazy stuff that you have to go into. And literally, you can do a million different things with one program nowadays, where before, you know, one program, one function. Maybe you get fancy and get a couple functions in there. But either way, we're good now. So I got the link out to all of you guys there at Patreon, and I'm going to send one to Kalina too. So that she's able to check this out. But when you listen to it, sweetie, obviously you have to mute down so that there's no echo here. Yeah. I'm sending you that link right now.
Ever goes to sleep,
right. I am in the chat room. I don't see anyone else right now. But if you're chatting with us, remember to make sure that your chat box says live chat rather than top chat. Live chat gets you the full experience live, but top chat, YouTube kind of filters out comments, so you don't get to see them all.
Good. Thank you for that, because I didn't even know that either. And that's the other thing, guys. Today's the Q&A. Today is not the poll. We're still keeping that open so more people can vote. But today are the questions that you guys sent in earlier in the year, or earlier in the month, sorry. And those questions will be asked today by William for you guys. And we're still going to do the same thing that we did last time, guys, that we've been doing for the last few months. Anyone who joins us who is in the live chat and who says, "Hi, this is me. What's going on? How are you guys?"
Just to make sure that they can hear this.
Yes, sweetie.
Totally black.
Yeah, it's black because the webcam's blocked off.
No, I mean like it used to have your picture.
I already tested it. We're live.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So, sorry guys, I lost my train. Give me 1 sec. There we go. All right. Yes, please say hello in the chat. That'll get you the opportunity to get 3 questions asked. And instead of sending those to Kalina's email, we're going to have you guys send those over to William's email, which we will give you guys later on in the evening at the time. We'll have William put it in the chat. But absolutely, guys. So tonight is going to run exactly like it does every other night, except for the beautiful, beautiful Kalina will not be joining us here as part of the functioning. And we do have the wonderful opportunity for our good friend William to do that and step in as that function. Thank you, brother, for taking this, especially on such short notice, especially with all the things we had to do to get set up. And that's the reason, guys, we're running behind. We had to figure out the only way to get William on with us because YouTube's restrictions only allow one broadcast at one time, unlike the old times where we could have Kalina, myself, William, and about 10 other people on at one time. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you, William, for being here too, brother.
Right, it's no problem. But anybody that's interested that follows YouTubers of any kind should know that YouTube is making it unreasonably hard to put out even basic content. For whatever reason, they have to realize what they're doing. They're either incompetent or malicious or whatever, but every time it seems like they change the rules. It's always shifting, and it's not fair for the little guy anymore. Anybody that's a little YouTuber, a little mom-and-pop YouTuber like Rob and I, has seen an enormous decrease in the interaction that we've had on our channels.
Absolutely, and part of that has to go. Me and William did a whole episode on his channel about YouTube censorship, the algorithm changes that they're doing to prevent people who are content creators who have been here since the beginning or who have been here, like myself. My YouTube channel went up in 2011, so we're talking about actually 2010. So this is 9 years my YouTube channel's been up. And when you used to type in channeling, ET channeling, reptilians, I would make it at least on the first page. Even in the last couple of years with all the new channelers that are coming out, some channelers come in, they're smart, they advertise, they're young and pretty. However the case is, they're able to come on in 2 years and get twice the subscribers I am. And even against those types of numbers and odds, because I've had my channel for so long and because I've had such steady flow of content as far as multiple videos being up and staying up and lots of good keywords and SEO, me and Kalina are pretty competent with that. We always ranked high in the searches for the channeling around our community. But now, you put in that same exact searches, we might get 1 or 2 videos on the first page. Or even get our channel on the first page, but a lot of it is not. It's pushed back. And right now, the only reason that we're still on the first page is because the mainstream community doesn't have any news channels or mainstream, what are those channels called? They're like internet channels that have tens of millions of subscribers. Like not Vimeo, not Vizio, but one of those places. They basically do like the top 10 pop quizzes. Those type of people, because they're bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, they're able to get themselves up there. While we go to the wayside, and channeling is so niche that I'm still okay for now. But people like Secure Team 10 with the UFO content, like William with his content where he talks through politics. Political arenas, things like that. those types of things are really, really getting screwed on their research, on their on all of the stuff that you can do, the SEO, the keywords, all of that gets pushed to the back, and all the Fox News, MSNBC, all of the mainstream news network, or the people who pay Google to get their numbers high and to let them stay on, and people who can afford, to pay Google a couple tens of thousands a month, all those people stay in the top few pages, and it's rough. I mean, it's to the point now with YouTube, if you did not have a pre-established community before 2018, it's very unlikely that you'll succeed unless you're in a very niche, remote part of YouTube that very few people come to. So
I want to say
it's true, and just a word on that. I'm sure we want to get down into channeling too.
Yeah.
People, obviously, we're living in very interesting times now. People's opinions are stronger than ever, and with the internet, you have an opportunity to fight with total strangers constantly in a way you never did before. And Matt, there are opinions out there now that are distasteful to everybody in different ways. You're on one side or the other side, and whatever you don't agree with, you don't like that opinion. I can't stress how important it is. It is never okay to censor anyone, even if they have opinions that you find horribly, horribly distasteful. If they become censored, it's just a matter of time before they do it to you. Even if you feel, wow, this person is saying hate speech or whatever you think it is, if you don't agree with it, they should be censored. But once they do that, the system can turn on you in a heartbeat, and that's what happens. If they can do it to one person, they can do it to anybody. So it really is essential, in America especially, that you support people's right to speak, even if you don't agree with them, even if you find it horribly distasteful. Once it starts, it'll never end. The censorship will never end.
All right, and Kalina wanted to add something too, but she's got to yell a little to get there. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I don't want to. I hope you guys can hear me. I just don't want to be so loud I wake up Jeremy. But I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents. I know it's frustrating with the changes going on with YouTube and all, but we should also not forget that we still do have this beautiful platform, even though we're kind of angry at the situation with YouTube. We're still able to be here right now with each other and speak and connect and communicate. I still believe that we're always going to be able to find whatever it is, wherever it is, what we need when we need it. And I know it might sound a bit airy-fairy right now because the energies are pretty heavy, but I just wanted to throw that in. And that when there's something adversarial like this, like if YouTube were to continue to shun what you guys are saying, little guys, which are not really little guys, but it'll just open up another platform for something else. So, and hopefully YouTube will catch on to that and, revert back some of the stuff that we had before. It just remains to be seen. But I just wanted to kind of try to breathe a little bit of, relaxedness, because I think right now we need to take a deep breath and just remember that we still have each other now. We still have this moment. We're about to talk to some really beautiful high density beings. It's really incredible. And I know right now it's just been really, really crazy with 2019, but it's also been very beautiful. We're all able to connect more than we've ever been able to connect before. But with that connection means that we're seeing everything. We're seeing the beauty and the beast, so to speak. And I'm not referring to any old stories or Disney either, or am I?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I just wanted to throw that out and also say hi to everybody, because I may or may not be here throughout the night. I haven't slept in 48 hours, and all the hours before that I've gotten maybe an hour here and there. Lilith is teething early.
Super early.
Yeah, she's going through a lot of things really early, and she's still having some issues with digestion. And she started back to where she is breastfeeding just about every hour. So poor mom is pooped right now for some reason. Lily is acting like she's had 14 cappuccinos at Starbucks.
Yeah.
So I may or may not still be up. Usually she sleeps around this time, and that's why I said, okay, Please, William, can you help us? So maybe she will. We'll see. But I wanted to say hi just in case I will be gone, because if I get a chance to sleep, I am outies. But I love you guys so much. And I wanted to ask, can you guys hear William okay? I know it's a little muffly, but I want to make sure you guys are able to hear him.
Yeah, let us know too, guys, how well that sounds for William. And thank you for that, sweetie. Another thing I wanted to add too, honestly, it has been a very intense and heavy year for a lot of people out there. And that heaviness brought a lot of good things to their life. And some people, it just brought them a lot of self-honesty or external honesty into their life. So it's something I've been wanting to talk about, and I think it's going to be one of the first things I talk about once I get my radio show back up. And I think, we're really starting to integrate with Lily and her schedule and having Jeremy full time. And once we turn this notch upwards, that's where I want to land, is on the radio show, which would probably be a YouTube live stream show. I just call it radio show because that's what it used to be. And that's the case, then I definitely want any one of you guys who are excited about to check that out, to check it out. But thank you, sweetie. And thank you too again, William, for being here and doing this and fighting that good fight too with the censorship and all the issues that are out there with suppression. Because although it hasn't hit our community as hard as it has another, it definitely does hit a lot of places. And I'm just thankful too that we're here tonight, guys. We love you guys so much. You guys are always here for us. You've stuck in with us even after the baby, even after all the last minute live streams, uploads, all that stuff. So thank you guys for hanging in there. We want to remind everybody also, if you're here and you want your opportunity to get 3 questions answered at the end of tonight, please just mention anything in live chat. Say, hi, how are you guys doing? Or whatever you want to say on there. We've already got Cindy. We've already got Hannah. So we see you guys. And also, by the way, hello, Hannah. Hello, Cindy. Love you guys too. Thank you guys so much. Easy Dean's in the house. What's up, brother? Yeah, he's here too. So we've got you guys already in the drawing. And at the end of the night, we taught William our special randomizing technology, how to get names for the questions at random and how to get all that stuff. So he's going to implement that, and he's going to be our very handsome man version of Kalina for tonight. And thank you, brother, so much. I'm going to let you chat with everybody for a minute too, so I can use the restroom before I start neutralizing.
I'm good.
And the treat for you guys tonight will be that during my time of neutralizing, you're going to get a chance to get to know William a little bit better too, for those of you who haven't met William. So that'll be a great thing too. And what were you going to do, Kalina?
I'll just need to hold the baby during your neutralize, like not before you.
Yeah. Okay.
Because otherwise, I'm afraid if I put her down, she might.
Yeah, no, she probably will. All right, guys. So I'm going to use the restroom. William, you can, if you want, you can start introducing yourself, and then once I get back, I'll just start neutralizing, and we'll go from there.
Okay, can you still hear me there, Rob?
Oh yeah, I can hear you good, brother.
Okay, this would be comical, actually, if people could see what we had gone through tonight. And again, this is a testament to how dedicated Rob is to get this information out to you guys, because we've really had a tough go of it, and we're probably going to have to come up with a much better solution. Again, YouTube removed Google removed their Google Hangouts on Air service, throwing many YouTube channels into chaos. And again, I know I'm not Kalina, and I could never possibly fill her shoes, but I'm going to try and do my best tonight. I am not in top form myself. As Rob said, I do a political channel. And I know right now spirituality and politics definitely don't go together. Our society as a whole hasn't really integrated them. And we're at a unique point in history where we've been more divisive than I've ever seen in my life. But when it comes to things like being able to get messages out, I'm a very, very big proponent that you should be able to say whatever you want without fear of censorship and things like that. And as I said earlier, once they start censoring one group of people or one person, it's only a matter of time before they turn it against everybody. So we're very lucky, in spite of all the limitations we have tonight, that we've been able to come here. I know it's not ideal audio and all of that, and Rob and I are both Capricorn. Kalina's a Capricorn also,
yeah, Capricorn
and we're perfectionists in this area.
Lilith,
so if it's not perfect, it always bothers us a little.
Lilith is a Cancer, so she's the opposite. So she'll bring in the balance. She'll be the one going, chill out, you guys.
See, I can't actually hear you, Kalina, but hopefully everybody else can. To paint the scene for everybody, I'm chatting with Rob on Skype. Well, my phone is connected to Kalina's phone, sitting next to the microphone at Rob's desk, while I'm watching the live stream on YouTube so that I can chat. It's the most convoluted thing I've ever been a part of, but I'm glad I can help.
Yeah.
So, and it is I see that you're in there, Cindy and Easy Dean and Hannah, and I want to welcome everybody. There's more people watching, so again, if you want to be entered into the drawing, please comment in the chat room. Don't forget to hit the like button. Also, if you are chatting, whether you're on a desktop or a mobile phone, make sure that the chat box says live chat rather than top chat. And if you guys can hear me, how does my audio sound? If somebody in the chat room can just see how I sound, because I can't hear myself on the actual stream. Just let me know how I'm coming through. But it is nice to be here. I have been following Rob's work for a while. I found him by accident. I was cleaning around the house. Let's see here. Hannah, we're working on that. Zoom is going to be one of the next things we implement, possibly.
So, William, I have a question for you. What's the difference? What's the difference between live chat and top chat? Because I don't know what the difference is.
Oh, if it says, it automatically sets to top chat, and when that happens, YouTube will filter out some of the comments based on whatever qualifications they put in place.
Oh, wow.
And you won't see every comment that comes through. So if it says live chat, that's the only way you see every. I don't know why they do that. I don't know what criteria they use to filter people out.
Well, hopefully it's with the thought of kids, maybe. Since I don't know, I'm hoping that's maybe the excuse.
I have no idea. I mean, whatever reasons they're using, my guess is that it's arbitrary. They always say that they try and protect people and this, that, and the other thing, but I don't want people looking out for me. I want to be able to make my own choices, and I want to see what everybody has to say, not what YouTube thinks I should see people saying. Hello, Sato? Okay.
Come on, kiddo.
Yeah, we're gonna come up with a solution. Rob was talking about re-implementing the radio program, and I'm sure I'll play some small part in that. I'm really excited to, because talking about politics gets really old. Actually, it's kind of, I enjoy it, but it can become taxing, and I like to do other things besides politics. I'm very much into metaphysics and channeling. I like 80s Nintendo stuff, and I'm a kid from the 80s. So politics is so exhausting. I really like to spread my wings and come over and deal with metaphysical things and other stuff besides the harsh realities we're living in today. But I found Rob, I don't know, years ago, I was just listening to different things on YouTube while I was cleaning the house, and I was listening to some of his early channeling videos of Treb. I wasn't actually watching, and I thought Treb was some old Asian man based on his voice. I didn't realize that it was Rob actually channeling another being or another consciousness, and then I started getting into it. That was my introduction to the ET Whisperer. So
I'm back, but I'm neutralizing, brother. So you can give yourself whatever. Yeah, go ahead and knock it dead, brother.
Oh man. Okay. Well, let's see what else. Let's see what you guys have to say on the chat room. Where's everybody from? Actually, that's an interesting thing. I usually ask on my channel while we're waiting for Rob to neutralize. I am actually in Fincastle, Virginia. I'm from New York. You probably hear that in my voice, but I've been living in Fincastle, Virginia. Easy Dean is in the D.C. area. This is another wonderful thing with this technology. Like I was saying earlier, we would never have a chance to spread our message this far and wide in the early days. So even under circumstances like this, I'm enormously grateful that Rob can still get his message out to everybody. I think he and Kalina are doing very important work. They've helped me out. I haven't always known them like this. I was just a casual listener like the rest of you are. And I instantly felt connected with them. And Treb and Aridif, in listening to them deal with other people's problems and obstacles in their life, it becomes helpful to me. And you really can't put a price tag on that. Things make you, that's really all that counts, is that you feel good. That's the best thing you can hope for in life, is to have a really great day and feel good feelings. We got Cindy in Savannah, Georgia. I love Savannah, Georgia. I used to go there every year for a period of time. I haven't been able to get down there for a couple of years now. Savannah is just beautiful. For those of you who haven't been there, it's one of the last surviving pre-Civil War towns from the South. It might be the only one. I'm not totally clear on that. But Savannah is just magical when I go down there. There's always a restaurant I go to called The Gray, which is a very upscale restaurant that used to be an old Greyhound bus station. And I was talking to Rob and Kalina before all this started about how different locations have different energies. And Savannah has a very unique energy. As soon as I'm there, I just feel like I'm in a dream the whole time. You know what? I'm probably going to make it a point to go down there now, just thinking about it again. I can't wait to get back down there. But we have that. Let's see. And we do have a number of questions tonight. Remember, I see right now in the chat room, I've got Hannah, Cindy, Easy Dean, and Beto. I think I'm saying that correctly. You guys have all been entered into the drawing to ask some questions at the end. Let's see here. And Cindy says her brother's going to the Gray next week for his birthday. I'm pretty envious of him. That is a fantastic restaurant. It's so nice. It's so authentic. It's like stepping back into the 1930s. But here we go. Let's see. And I know it's been great. Rob and Kalina have been super, super busy, and I've been super busy. I'm actually running for sheriff down here in my county. So I haven't been able to make a whole lot of my content, let alone follow Rob and Kalina. And I know they've been super busy with their new baby. If you guys don't have kids, these early years are hectic. Let me tell you, no matter how you slice it, these early years of child development, I'm kind of glad they're over in a way. Sometimes, I miss when my daughter was very young. She's 16 years old now. It's like, kind of glad I don't have to wake up in the middle of the night and deal with her anymore and all the diapers. I loved it when it was happening, but it's a very exhausting time. So let's see here.
That's so true.
Sorry. Easy Dean says, I just put mine to bed, still got to make a lunch. Yeah, you get it. It was great. I remember when my daughter was becoming more self-aware when she was 7 or 8 years old, and she's learning how to cook things. That was I remember that tickled me no end the first time my daughter cooked something for me. It was such a big deal. It's like, wow, this is great. I made this little person, and now she's doing things for me. It took a number of years, but it's really great now. It's unusual. It's an experience you only get if you're a parent. These little milestones along the way. It is the most demanding job, but it's also the most rewarding. I know that's cliche, but it is true. So it's really weird hosting Rob's show for him like this, because normally on my channel I would just be going through news things and like that, and I realize I don't have any go-to stuff right now. I do channeling of my own. That's something I can talk about. Every Sunday I meet with a group of people. When I first found Rob, I wasn't able to do any channeling on my own. And it's always kind of, Rob would be the first one to tell you he's just a regular guy and that anybody could do this. But there is something mystical and metaphysical about being in touch with other beings like Treb and Aridif. And even though Rob takes great pains to say he's just like the rest of us, in your mind you're like, he has superpowers to some extent. So I thought I would never be able to channel. It seems so far out of my reach that I wouldn't even consider it. And then through a series of events, I found out that, yes, basically anybody can channel if you practice at it enough. And that's what I end up doing. Every Sunday I meet with a group of people. We have an online discussion where we take turns channeling for each other and solving each other's problems. I don't necessarily channel a being like Aridif or Treb or Sept or anything like that. We channel different aspects of ourselves, like a higher self or different solutions to problems. I I see Connie has joined us. Hello, Connie. Connie, you will now be entered into the drawing. If you stick with us, you could be randomly drawn to ask Aridif some questions tonight at the end of the channeling session. As far as I know, Rob is still neutralizing.
Yep, still neutralized, almost done. And the questions will be 3 questions that you'll be able to send to William. You can ask Treb or Aridif, your choice.
And Hannah, happy belated birthday to Hannah. Yesterday was her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
The Galactic Travel Channel.
Sister.
Hello? I actually subscribe to you, Galactic Travel Channel.
Yeah,
I
that's
haven't had
Casey.
time to watch, but I am a subscriber.
That's Casey, the
Casey
Galactic
House.
Travel Channel.
Hi, Casey.
All right, I'm done neutralizing for all intents and purposes, but Kalina's got to finish up the baby stuff, and then I'll pass the baby off, and we'll get rocking and rolling.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to change her diaper in a bit too, and change her shirt so she cries a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she's got such a free will. She does not like to be jostled around.
Yeah, baby might cry a little. You guys probably can't hear Kalina. Kalina was just saying, at some point, because the living room's our main hub of where we're living, and all the feedings and everything happen here. You might hear baby, but she's adorable. So to me, even when she screams, it's adorable. But Kalina said basically, if you hear her screaming or anything, Kalina's got her, and that's part of the reason she's off doing that.
She's been
tonight too. So
she's been spinning up a lot, so she does not like it when I have to change her outfit. But I'd like to take her from you, sweetie. So
yeah, Kalina's gonna grab baby here in just a minute, guys, and then we're gonna rock and roll. We're going to go through the questions through our secret formula randomized technology that William has just been a party to. And then we're going to go from there.
I was about to say government issued technology.
Yeah. All right. You got to go under the wire, baby. Here you go. Was she? Oh, no. She's just eating my arm. I thought she was sleeping.
She's ready for some more food. I got to change her first.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to take another minute to take a couple more breaths and drink my water, and then we're going to rock and roll, guys.
Right. And I think this underscores what I was just talking about. Whereas I thought that I personally would never be able to channel because it seems so far out of reach. No matter how spiritually developed you become, no matter how in tune with yourself you become, you still have to deal with regular life no matter what. There's always going to be dishes to do and babies to take care of and diapers to change. It's not going to be like where you just sit underneath a tree hovering with a little robe on, existing in nirvana. No, you're going to have to put gas in the car and go to work and all these other things that we have to do as human creatures.
You know, and I'm not going to get too far in discussion. I don't want to knock my neutrality out, but it's sad to see the expectations of some people with just normal people. You know, like not me in channeling, but the guy who does the Secure Team 10 UFO videos. He's going through something in his life, and that's very apparent. He used to do daily content. Now he's doing one every couple of weeks or once a month. So there's something that's intense that's happening with him. And he used to have over 2 million subscribers and, you know, a couple thousand patrons on Patreon. And because of his content slowdown, he's had people really attacking him and saying stuff like, you know, we understand things in life happen, but this is a job for you and you need to do your job and you need. And I think of how lucky Kalina and I are to have so many loving, great, heart-centered people that follow our work because, you know, we have lived through life and we have had to do the dishes and put gas in the car. And when we've done that, you guys have been there to support us. So I just wanted to mention him so that if any of you guys enjoy his work or just enjoy people in general and care about humans and their feelings and emotions, I've been sending a lot of love out to him. And I would suggest anyone who watches Tyler from Secure Team 10 just send out some love to him, because he's really in a place that needs it. And he's very human in the same way I am, where sometimes he'll read through the YouTube comments, and the ones he tends to focus on are the ones where they're like, hey, you jerk, you need to make more videos for us, instead of the ones like, hey, we understand, we love you. And I noticed that too. He tends to gravitate more towards the ones that are kind of searing and burning ones, more than the ones that are filled with love and stuff. So anyway, guy, I'm gonna take my couple breaths, and thanks again, William, too, for everything, brother. You're a lifesaver. You've stepped in, and you definitely filled Kalina's shoes beautifully so far as the night, and I'm sure for the rest of the night too. One sec here. We're, as a consolation to William for stepping in and helping us, guys, too, because he is a patron and because he pays his monthly thing just like everyone else. He has a question put into the mix before he ever knew he was going to be doing this tonight, and we told him, because he's helping us, we're gonna ask him to do his question first with Trevor Aridif. So if you guys think that the randomizing machine was broken or rigged, it wasn't. We told William, Kalina and I, that we wanted him to take that first question just to make sure it's there for the effort and energy he's putting in tonight, guys. So thank you guys for understanding that. And Lily thanks you too, Kalina said, because she needs mama tonight. So yeah, thank you, brother.
Oh, absolutely, no problem. I appreciate that. It's basically, my question is on my sheriff's race. Aridif, I'm probably the only political candidate here that has a metaphysical campaign manager. I've told Aridif he's my unofficial campaign manager. And just so you know, I'm running as an independent. I am not a partisan or anything like that. So
Aridif's a hell of a campaign manager, I assure you.
I'm waiting. Once I get big enough, I'm sure this tape will be leaked somewhere. If I ever run for a higher office, congressman candidate talks to space alien or something, paint me like a lunatic.
Oh yeah. You ever go for president, locker room talk will be the least of your concerns.
Oh yeah. Well, see, just so everybody understands where I'm coming from, I'm not trying to campaign to anyone. I'm running for sheriff, and I'm not a police officer. I am not a politician or anything like that. It's an opportunity for me to be able to protect the people from the government and start doing away with a lot of the oppression that we have. I'm not a traditional political candidate at all.
Not by a long shot.
Not by a long shot. I'm just a regular guy that's trying to take back the county, for the people, genuinely for the people.
And that's me and William have talked politics many times, and we're both in the alignment that the way the United States government was set up was actually an ideal setup, and it stopped functioning like that probably 40 years or less after things got started. But it should be the people who tell the city what to do, and the city to tell the county to tell the state to tell the federal, and so be it. But instead now it's the federal telling the state, and the state telling the county telling the city, and the city telling the citizens, which is completely backwards from how it used to be. But we're both in great alignment on that ideology that, it should be what's best for the people, not what's in the most interest of certain groups or whatever. So anyway, guys, I'm going to take one more deep breath, and then we're going to jump in on this, guys. We've got to get moving. I got to get up early, 4 a.m. with Jeremy, and it's already 10:30 over here in Michigan and in Virginia. So we're going to rock and roll here in just a minute, guys. Thanks again, brother. I love you. I love all you guys, and thank you guys for being here tonight. Remember, too, if you're just tuning in, please say something in the comment section. You'll get your name thrown in for the 3 questions for Trevor Aridif at the end. And once we get to that point, William will let you know whenever he goes through the randomized thing to get the name for the person that he'll let you know how to get those questions to him. So if you guys are in the chat and you're expecting, you might want to start writing your questions now if you're thinking about them. just so that you have them there for him when he does choose a winner or not, whatever you guys want to do. But I love you guys. I love you, William. Let's rock and roll. I'm going to take one more drink and we're going to do it.
All right.
All right, guys. See you on the other side. And please remember, I know I tell you guys this every month. I know people who've had sessions here, but it's something I have to remind everybody of. When you're tuning into this, whether it's tonight live or a month from now when you're getting back to the replays and listening for the first time, try to get your energy there in excitement as possible. When you're asking the questions, the energies that are involved inside of you are kind of lit up and connect with the higher self and, to whoever else is involved or what other guides or energies or whatever the case is. That's how Treb and Aridif receive this information. They see that energy, they extract the information and reflect it from their perspective. And the reason why they do that, and the reason why it's important for everybody to understand, is so that you guys in that excitement can reflect that energy from their answers back. And when they reflect it back to you with excitement, you can receive it with excitement. And when you get energy that's excited, especially in information received, it always is 100 times more helpful. And it feels good to get information that's good when you're in that good zone too. So love you guys, and I will see you on the other side. Thanks again, brother.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Oh, it's so hot in here. Girl. You ready for some food? Yes. It's so hot. Greetings to all Aridif. That is A-R-I-D-I-F, and this is spelled. We understand that all of you have queries in this evening, but
Before diving into those queries, there are three things in which we wish to express. The first, above and beyond all things expressed within this state, to know, feel, and to perceive that you are loved, in our perspective, is of the utmost importance. Secondly, it is within our greatest excitement and in our greatest excitement in which we co-create with you, each and every one of you, collectively and individually. Thirdly, we wish to express greetings, William, Kalina, and to the baby Lilith.
Greetings, Dippy.
Greetings, Aridif. I'm so happy to be here tonight, unexpectedly.
Yes, of course. And for our own perspective, unexpectedly is not part of the vocabulary. It is only one probability outweighing another. And although it was a lesser probability, we are still in our greatest excitement to be with you in that lesser probability as well. We wish to express to all of you, not only are you loved, but we love you as well. You may begin with your queries at your leisure.
Thank you, Aridif. Rob said that I could kick off with a single question that I was going to ask, and I plan on talking to you more later on this month in depth. But what are the prospects for me winning my sheriff's campaign right now?
Yes, of course, and you are speaking comparatively to our previous expression and co-creation and in general, and both answers are the same. It is a higher probability. It does fluctuate, of course, depending upon your own energy, your co-creative mode, and the state of mind in which you are in. When your mind becomes much highly analytical comparatively to your normal state, then it fluctuates into the lower aspects of 50 and 52%. And when you begin to open your expression of excitement and allow the energy of love for the opportunity to co-create to open, then it jumps as high as 67% and has fluctuated in peaks of certain moments into the high forms of 70, 79, and 80 percentages. So in that way, you have very high probabilities from your lowest fraction of possibilities to your highest. All of them are comparatively higher.
That's fantastic news, and I really appreciate that. Just hearing it from you gives me the boost I need. We're going to move on to other people's questions, though, because there are many. I have a question here for you from Dean. What is the source of the 5,900 verses of healing that are the four tantras of Tibetan medicine?
Yes, first of all, we are not in alignment with understanding or knowing all of those energies, as Rob is not aware. And as we are connected to Rob, our energy stays focused within. But we can share with you a great deal about the springing energy of both tantric energy and in Buddhist practice. We understand that a Buddhist nature as a religion and part of a practice spirituality both stem from what we call the Christic collective consciousness. Most humans believe that the Christic collective consciousness deals with that of Christ, but in fact, Christic is dealing with crystallized form of consciousness, the higher density and higher dimension form of consciousness. As Buddhist practitioners originating in their own philosophy and in their own expression and mindset, and the understanding of the entity that all of you now know as Buddha. That energy was a direct relation to the Christic form consciousness. In fact, most of your religious organizations were founded by one or more humans who had incarnated into the Earth collective consciousness as a part of the Christic co-created collective energy, and they iterated their consciousness and reiterated it into the Earth collective at times where great boost of understanding, of love, and of energy were required. And in those moments, the Earth collective called for that expression to be manifest through the incarnation and reincarnation cycle. So parts of that small collective within the Earth collective called the Christic collective consciousness manifests itself into the Earth as such, Buddha being one of those that was before the historical Christ in the way that some humans perceive as linear time message. Now, that energy in its flow also springs many subcultured energies within that larger culture of Buddhism. Part of the energy of tantric energy, or the relation between the Buddhist version and the energy between the Hindu version, are much different, although there are different names from both springs. Both spring from Christic forms of consciousness, where the higher chakra system aligns with the lower chakra system. But the difference between the Buddhist form and the Hindu form in its co-created beginnings in the first part of the collective consciousness and its birthing into both forms comes from the energetic merging of the second chakra, heart chakra, and third eye chakra. This is something that practitioners, much as what you would see Rob to be as channelers or those who work with spirits, first perceived and incepted. Although those are not original forms of energy or original forms of information, to the earth it was very new. And even though non-human beings who once inhabited Earth, such as those in the Khen, such as those in Lumerian, and the Atlantean co-created collective incarnation cycles, did have tendencies leaning towards certain practices that were similar. These were original in their ideology and practice in use of merging the three chakras together. Now, the Buddhist form works mostly in the construct of the heart chakra, third eye chakra, then the second chakra joining, while those in the Hindu first work with the second chakra, then the third eye, and then the heart. And the relation into the activation of those, although not through practice, but origin, are similar and different in those ways. We thank you for this.
Thank you for that, Arden.
Yes, of course.
I have a question here from Kim, who wants to know how and why does monatomic gold or ormus work?
Yes, of course. First of all, they work with most humans who are open for them to work, and does not work with certain humans whose mental activation creates skepticism that is so large it is unable to penetrate through the entirety of that version. And it is the same with all things in your Earth Collective. Yes, there are certain forms of energies in the Earth Collective that are so collectively agreed upon and so collectively part of the internal mechanisms of belief systems for the entire planet consciousness that they either do or do not work. The energy behind those allow certain metals to be highly poisonous and allow certain plants to be completely healing. In those energies, the collective belief plays a large part of the assignment of that plant, that material, or the certain metal at that point. In the co-created energy, that if all beings in the earth were to be neutral and not identify or symbolize certain energies through those various symbols, ideologies, or simple materials, there could be a redefining of all of those energies. Now, for the ormus and for the monotone gold, all of those energies are related to the electrical system that is within your physical body. Of course, working with the highest form of conductivity of electricity on cellular levels allows the body to create in much higher form. It allows the mind to work at quicker synapses firing. It allows the heart to function more regulated systems in natural earth and body alignment, knowing that your physical body does in fact receive the stimulated portion and signal to fire from the earth itself. This is part of your chakra system energetically and your auric field physically, knowing that there is alignment between your own organs with one another and your organs with the earth can show you that heightened forms of electricity and electromagnetism through the physical body can only increase the function of that energy. Knowing the mechanism is important, but knowing the co-created collective energy behind that co-creation is also very important. the energy that is surrounding Ormus and the gold substance all relate back into the very first iteration of humans as you understand and know them. The Anunnaki worked with such forms of gold, with such forms of silver, and with Ormus collectively. That was something that in their own physical bodies extended life through hundreds to thousands of years longer than their native body allowed them to be in. And of course, their own native bodies had already increased its efficiency and its longevity through their own DNA manipulation of their own genetic code. But the energy behind the conductivity and the higher functioning electric synapses and the electric conductivity between cellular levels allowed that energy to only extend. And yes, of course, in the second visitation of those that are Anunnaki, the crew, as you would see it, that were left to clean up the mess of those first who came to the Earth Collective, taught humans the same thing about gold being the property of electric conductivity in the physical body. But many things were lost to the human co-creator collective from that time period, due to the nature of the ever-changing DNA form after the Anunnaki had left. There were 3 direct DNA manipulations almost within less than 100 years after the Anunnaki left. So some energy and collective memory of that is gone. But what stayed was the understanding that the metallic constructs given into the body in healthy ways only allowed higher electrical conductivity. One thing that was not brought from your past to your now moment was that in copper and its own understanding of relating the ionization of copper into water and utilizing that form of electrical conductivity can be extraordinarily similar to the gold and to the silver forms of Ormus and of the waters.
Okay, that's very fascinating. I had never heard of either of those metals, actually. I didn't know any of that. Our next question here is from Samantha for either Ardo or Treb. She says, as a young child, I experienced strange sensations. Most of the time it would happen out of the blue. I remember that I would just be sitting on the floor playing when I would get a feeling of dread, like I was being sucked into something. Buzzing or humming would surround me, and I would freeze and pray for it to be over. It would pass, and my day would continue. My memory of this experience is limited and also difficult to express in words. It happened when I was a child frequently, and it scared me. I have never forgotten these episodes, and as an adult, I often wonder what this is. Can either Ardo or Treb tell me what was happening? Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. We can tell you what was occurring in that moment of fear and in the moment of co-creation. First of all, as you are that young, you are extraordinarily energetic, sensitive to all energies, regardless if they are physical, non-physical, or if they are etheric or deeply grounded forms of energy. You have sensitivity levels to all of those things. Your energetic field are open. Your energetic understandings even more so open. In that moment, there was an entity that was disincarnate as a human consciousness, and that energy of that person was extraordinarily sad, was also extraordinarily angry. That energy of that person was haunted, as most humans would say. The energy that relates to most humans as they leave their physical bodies, even though they are going through pain or suffering, up to that point, including those who have committed suicide. There is time of sorrow, sadness that is brought from the energetic physical reality to the less physical after version of your experience. Most humans within 10 to 100 years often find a way to work through that energy regardless of the depth or the thickness of that energy and the negative feelings behind those energies. But the human being who was within your space had been out of their physical body for over 400 years and still had not let go of that energy. Understand that after leaving your physical body, there is time to adjust, there is time to learn. But if you are a human being who has belief systems that are oriented in pain and suffering, one who feels they cannot see the brightness upon the other side of that light, knowing that whatever they do, they are damned to be angry, to be sad, to be disconnected in that moment. Those beliefs continue with him in that afterlife. Although there's less resistance, the moment you step out of your physical body into your afterlife, that energy also allows your limitations to be less restrictive in their creation. So if you desire to create only resistance in your afterlife, you will have much easier time forming that resistance in your afterlife experience. Now, this entity was someone who was physically and mentally violent in their experience. They also were extraordinarily sad, as the reason that many of the things in their experience occurred was loss, pain, and suffering at childhood, not allowing this person to have a healthy, functioning mindset or psychology. And after many decades of being alive and stewing into that sadness, it only created larger forms. This turned to anger, which turned into violence. Now, this entity would come around you as it understood that you could partially perceive their energy. This entity also had only soft spots in their heart and in their psychology for children. It reminded him of what it was when he were innocent, before he was hurt by all of the other beings that hurt him through the childhood. What it was like before losing those that were close to him in his childhood, and that allowed him to come around you. And even though his energy had dissipated in levels of sadness and in anger, over threefold compared to being around other adult beings, the energy was still much too difficult and dense for you at your young age to deal with. Therefore, after releasing that energy and praying as your own mechanism of release in that experience, it allowed you to flush that energy momentarily and return back into somewhat of normal alignment form. That energy in your co-creation occurred multiple years after you were able to perceive, and it did not affect you through the same version of intense fear as it did when you were slightly younger years before. But it did, however, come into your sense of awareness and created higher forms of empathy for you. As you begin to become older, you could understand that there was pain that was there, and that this pain was from loss, not simply from one human being, a horrible person, or one spirit being a whole horrible and wholly bad spirit. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes,
Kalina makes us look so easy. Kalina makes us look so easy. I'm trying to do three different things at once. Let's move on with, let's see. Elizabeth has a question for you, Aridif. Elizabeth says, I hope you can help me to understand my very, very disturbing dreams. I have for many, many years. In those dreams, I am always lost. I'm looking for a place to go, asking people for directions, but I still can't find it. Often, I am passing parts of the town with beautiful architecture, parks, happy people, and I later find myself in a very destructive, devastated part of the city, where everything is in ruin, no people, and silence. I wake up very scared and disturbed. What is it? What is the universe trying to tell me? Thank you and love you.
Yes, first of all, you are quite welcome. Secondly, we also love you as well as you are loved. Now, when you look at this construct and energy, the universe is not telling you any one thing. In fact, you are telling yourself this one thing. Understanding first that there are 3 layers within your dream state that are part of the Earth co-created collective form of astral projection, meaning that at the first layer, it is simply yourself being outside of your physical body, in the same density or dimension, slightly higher in vibration, and able to travel through your linear time and any one given place in your Earth collective, knowing that the second level is the same version as the first, but in higher dimensional form, meaning that you are able to see those that are in higher dimension or density above you. Third layer of dream state, knowing that this energy is a place in which you create all things. It is between sixth density and the non-physical seventh density, meaning that it is between and after the place where we exist in our own experience at the end of sixth density, but before the soul understanding at its own level of non-physicality as an oversoul, or a planetary version of collective consciousness. This place is what most humans would perceive as a template layer of creation, the layer in which all things physical come to manifestation. And this layer humans come to as they are trying to co-create or create something for their own emotional, mental needs, or for the co-created collective betterment of the experience. With that co-created collective version, you are playing through many subsequent fears that you hold deeply in your psyche. First, that energy of being safe. It plagued your life at younger years when there were experiences where you did not feel safe. It only escalated in certain times in your young adulthood and teenagedom. That energy exponentially grew in your subconscious, unconscious, and semi-conscious mind. That energy is one part of the relation. The second part, that you are unable to communicate what is most needed in the moment, that is most important to communicate that energy. Yet again, this was shown in your younger years of childhood from those around you. It was shown the lack of form of ability to communicate when listening to certain adults speak to one another, to others speak to other beings, and not being heard or not being able to elaborate what they are trying to communicate in that clear fashion. And it became a part of you, subconsciously, unconsciously, and semi-consciously. It became a part of your psychology and psyche, and the energetic understanding of feeling or being lost. That energy also through our childhood growing as we become older. All three of those energies in their co-creation are some of the most deep-set fears in your psyche, in your subconscious and unconscious energy, as it is with the majority of human beings. With that construct, known and unknown, your energy manifests a way to go through that experience in a safe environment. And that environment was your dream state, was your own place of creation, and was that very line between non-physical and physical. And when you create that experience over and over again, it is bringing up those underlined emotions energetically. Some for you to understand slightly, others for you to only work through psychologically, and yet others energetically, running itself in the background, healing parts of yourself that are not seen by your understood mindset or by your lower fractal conscious perspective. The higher self assists in that energy, as when you are in the template layer of creation, the majority of your higher fractal consciousness is integrated with you at the astral projected state in which you are, meaning that all of you goes to working on this, not simply the lower fractal or the higher fractal consciousness. We thank you for this.
Okay, thank you again, Aridif. We're going to move on to our next question from Genevieve. It's about timelines for either Aridif or Treb. I've heard that in 2037 there is a trifurcation of the timelines. The first for those on a self-serving path, the other for those on a service to others path, and the third for those in unity consciousness. What is your perspective on this idea?
Yes, in our perspective, that branch occurs all of the time, and it is not only a trifurcated but an infinicated version of that energy. In all moments, there are literally probabilities of all entities doing all things, and if you were to run the amount of energies in probabilities that can or could occur, the number is not staggering. It truly and literally, through definition of your understanding, is quite infinite. And that infinite version of energy relates to the probability of all timelines, not only earthbound, but all throughout the entire universal collective and beyond. Now, we do understand that energy. Treb Bor Yit NE, when first communicating with Earth, tried to share information in a way that humans could understand, and showed splitting of two forms of energy at your 20 and 12 region. And yes, this is also accurate, but to one perspective. It is accurate that the groupings of souls in the Earth Collective will reach either for a more type 1 environment or more type 2 version environment. Type 2 being a large spectrum, one in which you can be the most benevolent but slightly feeling or perceiving disconnection, all the way to the highest form of malevolency, when type 1 version is 100% unity consciousness in the way that you define this. And those two timelines had sense of reality for that splitting energy. But in fact, the Earth is splitting at all times with all human beings. If you chose to use your left hand to pick up the item that you have just dropped upon the ground instead of your right, you have created an entire probable reality that is different than the one that you are perceiving. If after doing so, you look to your left, to your right, directly in front of you, to the ground, to your ceiling, or any of 180-degree possibilities with any angle of curvature in the head and neck momentum, literally, hundreds of thousands of different probabilities can occur simply in head position. Knowing that small things create large probabilities, imagine each and every human being, from the start of their birth, from their leaving the womb, all the way into the end of their life, and every split second between, allows for literally hundreds of trillions of probabilities per second per human to arise. You will understand that, yes, timelines, probabilities, expressions of probabilities all go towards the version they are. Now, we can share this with you. We understand that the context of all sentence is not in the same context in which we have answered. That is simply so that all of you can understand the difference in your ability to create in the moment or in every moment the possibilities, probabilities, and timelines that you desire, simply by making conscious efforts and understanding the level of creatorship at your fingertips when facing the Earth and Earth co-created collective. Knowing this should allow all of you to empower yourselves to create at your greatest level. But knowing that it will not motivate all humans to do so, we can also share this energy. That yes, we understand the trifurcation of that timeline lineage. And yes, there are energetic markers from the year 2021 until 2039 that show larger collective and several branching outwards that are 2, 3, 5, and 12 at a time. And all of those numbers between that allow that large branches of collectives to change or to shift only are as good to movement or splitting as you yourself are willing to split or be split with yourself. Meaning that if you desire 3 branches to occur largely in any one given year, then your vibration can match that of an Earth that is within that alignment of splitting. Put yourself in the collective of the Earth that you desire. instead of allowing yourself to navigate through an earth that you believe is static in its perspective and is not shifting unless the trifurcations or two forked roads begin to open several places. In fact, putting yourself in that collective that is best for you is the greatest place to start, as the more you feel that livened energy within you, the more that you align yourself with the version of humanity that you desire to go through as well. And we thank you for this.
Okay, thank you, Aridif. And also, I'll be relying on you to let me know when we have to do the drawing to keep track of the time.
Yes, of course. We will let you know, as you would say, in that moment, of course.
All right. Our next question is actually from Fado, who I hope is still with us. He says, Aridif, what do I have to offer humanity that is of value?
Yes, of course, you have all things to offer humanity as a perspective of energy. We understand, yet again, the context of the question is not in alignment with the context of the answer, but it is literally yourself placing your energy in the direction that you yourself desire to be. That is where we tell all humans to find their journey path or their service that can be done for the Earth Collective. Simply follow your excitement. Your higher self has an alignment towards excitement with the Earth Collective and those things that you find exciting for the very specific reason of showing you where your desire before entering the Earth Collective was. Let us use an example. If there was a person whose interest is to buy and sell baseball and football memorabilia, they do not know where this excitement sprung from, or they do know, and continue having new excitements within that same field. There is a high probability that before entering the life, there was a question created by the entirety of the fractal consciousness, and it said, we desire to know what it would be like to experience a life in where we are consumed with sports memorabilia, or where we are held to the greatest level of excitement for something in all other lives that perhaps we would see mundane or semi-exciting. Thus, this energy is the higher fractal showing the lower fractal in which direction to go to follow that path. But the good news is, for all of you who desire to create your own path, is that, in fact, in the lower fractal consciousness comes the place in fruition where all things of free will are created. The lower fractal consciousness, most humans perceive it as a smaller or lesser fractal of consciousness, when in fact it is the only fractal of consciousness that is allowed to steer the entire ship of consciousness. You are in the driver's seat in your lower fractal. Following your excitement allows you to have more alignment with your higher fractal. But if you divert, it is not hurting any constructive energy or theme that you have in your life. The only purpose for all of you to incarnate into Earth as a human being in this moment is so that you can experience the Earth as that fractal being in this moment. We thank you for this.
Okay, thank you for that, Aridif. Our next question seems to be from Cindy. For you, Aridif, are you able to tell me what specifically I do or where I specifically go and visit in my dream state? Thank you and much love to you all.
Yes, of course. First of all, we can express to you, but the answer is multifold. You go to multiple different places and multiple different realms in your sleep experience. In the last 3 years of your time, the majority of energy is focused with Pleaidian co-created collective versions and Syrian co-created collective versions. Multiple humans are working with Pleiadians and Syrians in the last 100 of your years. And in the last 100 of your years, the Pleaidian and Syrian co-created collective version are connecting with humans whose excitement it is to co-create and communicate with the entities that are in higher density or extraterrestrial in nature. The reason they are co-creating with so many who are in that alignment and excitement so that information can be shared and accessed easily by both planetary or entire solar system collective versions. Any being that exists on Earth now has higher access to information about the entire Syrian co-created collective consciousness ever in any point of history in your time. And that is because of the Earth co-creating that version of grid, that is artificial grid system, although it is created from real etheric energy and is co-created with high purpose and agreement with both planets. It is considered artificial because it was not purely created with consciousness in the moment of the birthing of that planetary collective consciousness, and multiple tens of thousands of human beings, including yourself, work with Syrian and Pleaidians for these artificial grid co-created systems. There are also entities that are not incarnating upon Earth any longer, ones who you have known in this lifetime and others who you have known in other lifetimes, and you communicate openly with him. Although you have all of your fractal consciousness with you to communicate with those beings, the majority of the focus consciousness comes from that lower fractal conscious perspective, and it does so to allow the lower fractal to learn, and to learn communication with higher fractal and higher dimensional energies. We thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif. Our next question is for you from Deborah. She says, hello, Aridif. Earlier this week, I was in meditation to connect with Melchizedek when the bottoms of my feet became very hot. I took this as a sign to ground my energy, which I did. That did not help. The soles of my feet kept on having a burning sensation, which eventually heated my entire body. Can you please explain this to me? Many thanks and much love.
Yes, of course. First of all, the physiological response to energy in your co-creation is a part of all natural human systems. As you work with energy that is higher in vibration, higher in dimensionality, and higher in the amount of consciousness available, once you connect deeply to that energy, physiological changes start occurring almost to an instantaneous point in perspective. In your co-creation with that construct, it connected first with the parts of your physical body that produce hormones, and with your glands being activated in that moment, your hormones increased and were focused directionally to those parts of the body that were most important. First, the feet in that grounding scenario. And yes, of course, your intuition was correct. It was about grounding more deeply. And after you did this, your energy shifted and changed, and so too did your glands in response to that energy secreting different hormones. The energy was much shorter lived than many humans who work and have their glands activated. And with the glands that were activated, it did not create puffiness in your physical body. This extraordinarily different version of glandular co-creation physically as an interaction part of the energetic co-creation with higher dimensional consciousness is yet different and also less impactful physically or harmful for you physically as some others. The interaction that is so perhaps felt strongly or can feel more jarring in the physical body are those that come from places where your own alignment is not full in that idea or energy. But afterwards, after feeling that energy and co-creating with that consciousness, you are now in more alignment with Melchizedek consciousness than previously before. And the next co-creation only brings you closer to having more alignment with the dimensional and energetic properties of that co-created collective version. We thank you for this.
Thank you for that, Aridif. And I want to take this time, if anybody's in the chat room and you want to get into the drawing, please say something and I'll put your name in the drawing.
Yes, and we will take 1 to 2 queries remaining before entering all 3 question construct.
Okay, thank you, Aridif. Our next question is from Connie for Treb.
Well, yes, 1 moment. We will bring Treb Bor Yit NE forward after hydrating Rob's throat.
Of course.
1 moment, please. Good evening, William.
Good evening, Treb.
Yes, it is a very good evening as well. We know that you have a question for us, and whenever you wish to ask this question, you may.
All right, absolutely. This is from Connie, and I want to say hello. This is the first time I've ever talked to you, so it's nice to talk with you.
Yes, the first time that you have in your physical body, and the first time that you can remember.
Well, Treb, this is from Connie. She says, I love you and you are loved, and I send you love and light, and thank you for loving and helping us. My question is, who are the entities I dreamed of approximately the end of January of 2019 and early February after I started reading Sinea Roman's opening to channel book? Were they my guides, rather? One was dark, small, and scary. I told it to leave because I did not know if it had my best interest at heart. And the other 2 were teenage-looking, blonde-haired, and blue-eyed.
Yes, the energy that you feel, all entities, even the one that is scary to look at, are entities that are connected with your energy and connect with your energy for many years. When you look at the energies that are the scary, short, and darkened version of being, this entity is a guide that worked with you for 7 and 9 years of your experience, 7 years all of the time, and 9 years coming in and out of that energy, and coming in and out of your sleeping state. And the other 2 entities are entities that some humans can look at and call hybridized children and guides as well. And these entities have some of your DNA and have some of DNA of entities that are gray and co-creating, but all of the DNA that is exchanged is DNA that comes from the higher dimensional energy as well. The energy between your connection and dreaming and asking questions and getting answers and perceiving the energy from your opening experiences of third eye all relate to your own excitement to grow, to expand, and to have more information. We wanted to congratulate you for having more information and for opening your own energy that much more.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Believe it or not, Treb, the next question is also for you from Otto. Can you go up into that?
Yes.
He wants to know, what is the easiest way to heal and come into balance in the solar plexus and its connection to the heart chakra, if it's a matter of shifting core beliefs or whatever?
Yes, there are many different ways that you can look at that energy and how your third chakra connects to the heart chakra and how to make your third chakra feel better. The very first place that you have to start is actually in the heart chakra very first. How can you feel good about your sense of self, and how can you see the way that your energy connects with other humans and how your personality and who your characteristics are inside of yourself, unless you are able to truly love yourself? If you start seeing distorted versions of yourself from your third chakra, it will be so difficult for your energy of your heart chakra to start aligning more and for the third chakra to become in true forms of alignment. So The energies that we suggest is practicing over and over and over again that I love myself unconditionally and I love myself perfectly for the person I am in this moment. And the second energy is, as you are saying those words, try to open yourself to visualizing all the experiences where you have felt loved or you wished to have felt love, and put those in your mind's eye, and continue practicing seeing yourself at different stages of your life as a little child or baby, as a young toddler, as a young child, as a teenager, a later teenager, adult, and keep going on and on. And each stage of that energy, ask one simple question to each part of yourself and see what answer you get. The one question is, am I truly loved in this form? And when that energy answers, it will show you where all the parts of your solar plexus are still having trauma, or still having difficulty in gaining energies and acceptances in yourself. And after you find that answer, look at that answer that is given, then repeat to yourself the opposite of what the question is. The example that we can give you is, am I really worth loving? And the answer to that question is, I am worth loving, and repeat it over and over again. One thing that we tell human beings as they repeat energy to themselves, the number 9 is extraordinarily powerful and very helpful in that energy. If you are to repeat 9 times, yes, I am worth loving, and yes, I am worth loving, and continue going 7 more times than what we said, that will give you a feeling that is first started at emotional level, but starts also springing more and more mental energies. And the mental energies are not bad, the bad guys of the energy exchange. They are not demonized, or they are demonized, but in our own perspective should not be. The thoughts that accompany the emotion of that energy are very important for you to perceive. It gives you the understanding where the energy starts, how it starts, and how to co-create better thoughts and better energies and better psychologies as well.
All right, that's fantastic. And I want to mention also that Otto said he thanks you and he sends you love. I missed that earlier when I read the question.
Yes, I love you as well.
All right, well, thank you, Treb. And if you see me in the dream state, do something drastic to get my attention so I remember you next time.
Yes.
All right, well, I guess we'll move on to the 3 questions then.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to randomly draw them. Yes?
We are back without hesitation or delay to get into Aridif.
All right, thank you, Otto, for coming back. I have all of the questions here, and I got from Anna, Cindy, Easy Dean, Thedo, Connie, the Galactic Travel Channel, and Luca. And I literally just dropped them, and I'm randomly picking up this one. It looks like our grand prize winner, if I can open the note. I put them on little post-it notes, and now it's stuck together. The Galactic Travel Channel. All right, so I have those questions in my email, and the Galactic Travel Channel is Casey. All right, fingers crossed. All right, question 1. Who is the being who in August of 2008 first put through to me the concept of the Galactic Travel Channel? Is this one still connecting to me?
Yes, of course. First of all, the entity themselves is a part of your own co-created collective guide energy. As you are well aware, there are multiple guides that work with you at multiple levels that are parts of your own oversoul. In that co-creation, this entity is most definitely, as you would perceive, an entity that is within that oversoul co-creation and a part of your larger generic guidance system. First of all, the entity is still working with you. As for identity, it does not share names or energetic pathways in which we can co-create with him, but we do understand that this entity is a part of your co-creation for multiple years, one of the very few that work with you in more consistent rates. As you are aware, there are entities who come into your experience for 1 week and leave. There are others who stay months or years and leave, some coming inward and outward and continuing patterns of in and out depending upon their own excitement and co-creative ability. This entity works with you in extensive time slots of years, and the entity is still working with you and connecting with you as well.
Okay. Question 2 is, how extensive is my interaction with galactic races, specifically on board crafts?
Yes, we did not hear the word specifically, that are in alignment with galactic.
Yes, specifically on board crafts, like different spaceships, I imagine.
Yes, of course. That energy in your co-creation occurs all of the time in your experience of dream state, and as you remember some of your dream state and not other parts in your co-creation, the extensiveness of that energy is higher than the majority of humans that we have co-created with. And we are co-creating with those whose excitement it is to co-create with higher dimensional beings and in sleep state co-creations, meaning that if we are taking a survey of all beings that we've connected with and utilizing algorithms in creation from that, and also utilizing Rob's database and his own mind of human interaction, Kalina's and all of the other entities, such as yourself, that we have co-created more directly with, we take a snapshot and frame and express that in your co-creation, especially with those that are in, as you perceive, extraterrestrial craft, you are within the top 7 percentile of those who co-create continuously. And collectively, you are working with larger numbers of co-creators than most humans we perceive. We thank you for this.
All right, and finally, Ardif, the last question here. Who is the being who came through to me as Amalita? She signs off saying, all my love to all of you.
Yes, of course. The entity that is known as Amalita 2 is an entity that is deeply integrated with multiple components of your previous incarnation and parallel versions of those co-creations. For example, there are many lifetimes in where you have co-created as human form with other beings, such as those who meditate. In your meditation, working with extra dimensions also in meditative form, and as energies cross path, you become to know those beings. You build a relationship with those beings. The entity that is Amalita is a being who had bumped into in a non-linear fashion in one of your previous human incarnations and works with the co-creation between that lifetime and this lifetime. There are multiple other components of your previous incarnations, both in Earth and outside of Earth, that is co-created with Amalita, and Amalita's co-created collective consciousness as well. The identity of this entity is not expressed deeply, and most energies that we perceive from you have only selective forms of information. The reason is that you receive information directly for yourself and deeply integrate certain components of your information receptivity. And once you realize that energy that is coming in, you have certain levels of trust in what you are receiving. That level of trust is implicit for you to have and necessary for you to have in your experience of discernment, co-creating, channeling, understanding the information that is received. And the reason they do not share great deals with ourselves in that moment is to not cross hairs. They do not wish to throw that dent, or we are not sure of the word configuration, throwing a dent into the problem, as those entities perceive that what information they give to you and what information you receive is the information that you need with the identification, the physical incorporation that you have not perceived through your form of crystalline channeling, or the co-created decision for you to implicitly and deeply trust what you do receive from the higher fractal consciousness. Although we can perceive the lineage in which you have co-created with this entity through those multiple lifetimes, we do not have much deeper in identification for that entity. We thank you for this. We understand our time for this evening has come to its end, but before disconnecting, we wish to express to all of you, not only are you loved, but we love you as well. We also wish to express to each and every one of you, as you have asked all questions in this evening, with levels of understanding that you feel you did not have in that moment, looking for answers who reflected upon our own energy, and with that energy we did perceive those parts of your ununderstood or unseen components of consciousness. As we look at your consciousness in places that we have never seen, because we are connected and because we are one with one another, this allows us to see the parts of our own consciousness that we have never perceived or slightly perceived previously. As we are growing, so too do you grow, and vice versa. For your growth, we congratulate each and every one of you, and for our growth, we thank you. Greetings also yet again, Lilith and Kalina, and we bid all of you adieu for this evening.
Thank you, Aridif. I do to you as well. I'm glad I could help you this evening.
Yes, of course, William. We are grateful for the co-creation. Adieu.
Adieu. We'll see if Rob is back.
Hey, there we go.
It went fantastic. It was weird for me getting in the groove. Honestly, I'm always totally at ease public speaking. I could talk in front of thousands of people without a second thought. Tonight's the first night I've been nervous in front of an audience probably in 20 years. I'm like, this is Rob's show. I have to, I didn't know what to talk about.
No, it's yeah. I think anything you do's got to be awesome, brother. You're always great, man. Even in topics where we might not have full agreement in some of the political and stuff, whenever I listen to you, I love listening to you because you're awesome, man. You put that energy out there and you just go with it. So I'm sure it went great, man.
You did great, and thank you, because Lily's been an absolute wiggle worm. I wasn't able to sleep, but I definitely we would have been here all night because she's very energetic tonight.
Were you able to hear Kalina?
No, I really can't hear her, but I can hear you.
Okay, well, basically she said you did amazing tonight, and thank you so much for doing it, because Lily was being a complete wiggle worm. Kalina wasn't able to get any sleep, but you got rest, and what did you say?
No, it's just we would have been here a long time.
Oh, yeah, she said even though she didn't get sleep tonight during this, if she was still doing it now with Lily, we'd be here for another hour. So thank you, brother.
It's so far. I tried to keep it moving along, and it said there's so many great questions.
I know.
It's a shame we couldn't get to them all.
Now you know my pain when I read them.
She said now you know her pain too when she's reading them.
I wish we could go through every single question.
Oh, when we first started the first couple months, I think once or twice we were able to get to all the questions because there was only like 10 patrons or something. But yeah, now with a growing list comes growing question list, which comes more difficulty to do. So anyway, guys, I'm looking at the time, and I've got less than 30 minutes before I got to go to bed, and I still got to eat, and I got to help Kalina eat and get all that stuff around. I just want to let you guys know we're going to be here tomorrow, same time. Well, not same time. We'll probably be here between 9 and 9:30 p.m. tomorrow. We're going to do the poll winner. And we're going to keep those votes open right until we get ready to do the channeling. So keep those votes going, guys. They're on the Patreon page. Thank you again, William, brother, so much for everything. that you did tonight. Kalina said it went great, so I believe her when she says that. And I love you, brother, so much. Thank you for everything.
Oh, no problem. I'll be back tomorrow if you need me.
Thank
you.
you.
Can disconnect if you want to hang on the phone for a second. But I appreciate all of you in the chat room. I'm thanking Cindy and Connie, and I just tried my best. I don't know if I was your first choice or your last choice, or you had no one else and you had to call me.
No, you were the top on our list. We asked no one before or after
we
you.
were gonna have Lilith do it, but she refused.
Kalina said we're gonna have Lilith.
I just figured you got turned down by like 20 other people. Well, I guess we're gonna ask Will.
No, we called you because we knew, you've got an excitement for this stuff. Plus, your YouTube channel, me and Kalina really love to watch you. Like I said, even if things that are there that we don't necessarily agree on politically, we still always love watching and hearing what you've got to say because you're a dynamic energy in person too. So thank you, brother, and thank all of you guys for being patient with us and waiting, all that good stuff. But we're going to jump off, guys, and we're going to be back here tomorrow. William might join us if Kalina's not able to do that tomorrow. And what we're going to do is we're going to have Aridif talk in depth about whatever subject gets chosen as the winner for the poll. And then either Kalina or William will be bouncing questions off from what Aridif just got done channeling. So anyway, guys, Lily's getting a little grumpers too. She's getting ready to go to sleep.
She's like a teenager. She does not want to sleep.
Yeah, she's fighting her sleep, guys. Anyway, guys, we love you guys so much. We will talk to you guys soon. We'll see you tomorrow. And I'll hold the line too, William, so we can chat for a minute afterwards.
Okay, one final thing for everybody. I just dropped the link to the interview you and I did.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, brother, so much for that, because that was a great interview.
I had a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, I did too, brother. And anytime you want me to come back on, you let me know.
All right. Well, good night, everybody, and I'll let Rob take it from here.
All right, brother. Thanks again. Thanks, William. And we love you guys so much. We'll be back tomorrow in between 9 and 9:30, and the link will come up last minute like it did until we get a better system with YouTube. I've got two people who've put me onto a certain program, and it looks like it could be very easy to run. I just got to walk through them with the whole shebang and see how it works. And, who knows, we might get better broadcast system set up for next month. And we're also going to try to get out the questions and forums and all that stuff earlier in the month too, so that we've got a much longer heads up on when we're going to broadcast instead of last minute at the end of the month like we did this month, guys. We love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks again, William. Thanks again to all of you guys who joined us in live chat and everywhere else too. See you guys soon. Love you guys. Love you guys. Night.